Finally, after 2 days of rain, we got a full day of cricket in Taunton, and the LV County Championship match between Somerset and Nottinghamshire moved on at a pace with 13 wickets falling. Notts resumed on the third morning on 48 for 3 in their first innings, and before a run had been added to that, Adam Voges edged Alfonso Thomas to Marcus Trescothick. Conditions were still not ideal for batting in, and it was now going to be a tough time ahead for James Taylor and Chris Reed, especially with Thomas moving the ball around. However, he soon pulled up with a hamstring injury, and that allowed Reed to take on Steve Kirby instead. He was hit for 3 fours in the same over. Reed has become a master of digging his side out of some tricky situations, and he did that here by also pulling Jamal Hussain for a 6. As with the Test match last week, Taylor was having a great view of a man taking on the bowling from the non-striker's end. He'd made 21 out of his side's 120 when he attempted a rather risky flick and was given out LBW to earn Abdur Rahman his first wicket in county cricket with just his second delivery. Reed completed yet another fine 50, but soon afterwards he nicked Hussain to Trescothick, and 5 balls later, Hussain also had the former Somerset man Ben Phillips held in the slips for a duck. Graham Swan, in a rare appearance for Nottinghamshire, didn't last long either. He gave Trescothick his 5th catch of the innings, equalling a county record, and Hussain his 3rd wicket. Andre Adams went for a golden duck to start the afternoon session, Hussain striking again as Adams, as ever, went for a big hit. And the catcher there, Kirby, then yorked Harry Gurney for naught, as the visitors were all out for just 156, with Hussain taking 4 for 6 in a 6-over spell. But it then took Notts just 2 balls to start their fight back with the ball. Trescothick tried to turn Phillips to leg, but instead edged to Adams. Someone somewhere needed to knuckle down and score some runs in this very important game. With leaders Warwickshire struggling for a while against Worcestershire, this game has suddenly taken on more importance. With 4 matches, including this one, at home to come for Somerset, they knew that a win against one of their title rivals would be a huge boost for them, and Errol Sapire and Chris Jones just started to put their side on top. As is so often the case, it was left to Adams to redress the balance. He had Sapire leg before for 35, before Jones shovelled a short ball from him to mid-on to go for 28. James Hildreth and Joss Butler then took their side to tea, and you just got the feeling that this was now going to be a decisive partnership, so Notts would not have been pleased when Hildreth was dropped by Adams at mid-on off Swan, with 16 runs to his name. Butler didn't treat Swan with too much respect, advancing down the wicket to plant him for a 6, and the day started to turn out to be a bad one for the visitors, as their talisman Adams was struggling with a hamstring injury, while Gurney had already gone off with a leg injury. So now was the time for Somerset to take advantage, and Butler, such a free-scoring batsman, looked to do that off both Swan and Adams, who continued to try his hardest on a pitch which was becoming a little easier to bat on under the hot sunshine. Things then went from bad to worse for Notts when, of all people, Reed dropped a chance, offered off the inside edge by Butler. A very rare moment indeed. Hildreth completed his fine 50, and in doing so took his side to within 1 run of their opponent's total. Things were looking good for Somerset right now. But then crucially, Paul Franks had Butler held by Alex Hales after making 39 to end a 91-run partnership. And he was followed by Lewis Gregory in Franks' next over, Reed clinging on this time. Swan then got in on the wicket column late in the day by having Peter Trigo taken behind by Reed to reduce Somerset to 175 for 6. But Hildreth and Abdur Rahman saw out the final 17 minutes of an intriguing day to give Somerset a chance going into the last one. Hildreth perhaps holds the key. He'll resume on the last morning on 63 out of his side's 187 for 6, which gives them a lead of 31. Nottinghamshire's batsmen may be under some pressure when they are called upon.